Hi guys, Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto, and this is my personal channel, and this is the official last video on my personal channel. And we've got Paul here. Paul's an employee of Pacific Coast Auto, and the reason why this is going to be the last video on the personal channel is because we've decided to move all the content from this channel onto the official company channel, because as much as it was my intention to have this more as a personal and intimate type of channel, I don't really have the time to be personally vlogging, and most of the content on here was really company related anyway. And so if you want the company stuff, the company channel link is in the description. And before we get into the very final question cast, I also want to mention that these question casts are now going to be on the other channel. They're going to be bi-weekly, and it's now going to be both myself and Paul and possibly other staff that we have working at the company, including maybe Andrew.
Wait, hold on. We have to stop for 1 second in case you can hear it. There's an FJ Cruiser in front of us that has ridiculously large quad exhaust on it.
I'd show you, but I can't.
Just in case you're wondering why I started freaking out. It's really funny looking. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, question casts will be on the other channel. Please subscribe to that if you don't already. And then this one's basically going to go dead unless I want to pick it up a couple of years down the line or whatever. Now, I also want to remind everybody that we do have a, I guess, third channel, but now it would be considered a second channel, and that is still tentatively called Drive Japan. The first video will be posted officially August 1st now. We've already recorded probably about 70% of that very first video, and we've got some ideas on there, so please go and subscribe to that one if you haven't already. And we're going to do our question casts, so we don't have to deal with a bad recorder because Paul's just going to answer the questions or ask the questions from your very nice paper.
Right.
Take a look at
I've
that.
got my little notepad here.
It's all crunched up.
It was in my pocket. It was in my pocket. I was keeping it safe.
And we're both going to be answering the questions, so I'm going to be answering with the correct answers, and then Paul's going to...
Right. So, the first question, actually, I'm going to ask you directly, because...
before we get into this, I haven't read those questions, and so I don't know at all what I'm going to be asked, and I won't have a suitable answer for most of them. But go ahead.
Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask directly, because I think it's a question that maybe some of these guys will have for us now that you've made this announcement. Mm-hmm. And that question is, now that this question cast is going to be on the company channel, does that mean that they can only ask company related stuff and that they can't ask fun questions?
No more fun questions. That's the rule. Officially, you're allowed to ask whatever you want. When it comes to what we're going to answer, we're going to decide on a question-by-question basis, but I do want to keep it a little bit personal, because I think that's part of the appeal of our company, is that people can get to know the people who work there a little bit. And so if you want to ask Paul some questions, or if you want to ask me some personal questions, that would be fine. And then if it's something Paul doesn't want to answer, like what color is your underpants right now?
Assuming I'm wearing some.
That was supposed to be a question, actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't feel like answering that. I'm embarrassed.
Right, that's, I guess, the answer that you're going to get from Paul. And that question, if you ask me, I don't know. I'd have to check, and I'm driving right now, so I don't want to do anything dangerous. And I'm already distracted by this quad exhaust FJ Cruiser in front of us. So yeah, feel free to ask anything that you want. If it's a question that's outside of the bounds of what we feel comfortable with, we just won't bring it up on the question cast. So feel free. Also, usually you ask the questions in the comments section, but if you ask the questions in the comments section here, they're not going to be transferred over to the other channel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to check both channels for questions. So if you have questions for the next week's cast, ask them in this mosquito. Ask them in this video is fine. Ask them in the other videos or in the other channel. Anywhere is okay. We'll pick those up and we'll answer them. Okay, so go ahead. Oh shoot, we don't have the ETC card in the new car.
Yeah, we're having to manually hand it in. Normally you have a little machine that you just drive right through it, but
it'd be cool if people have that.
The company car, we haven't put it in this one yet because it's new, so...
And that's Paul's job.
It's my job, and I've let everybody down. So we're going to stop for a second while he pays.
1,300 yen to cross this bridge, which at the current exchange rate is roughly about $13 US.
To go from How far is it? It's not even that far from the port
No,
back into town.
It's like, I think it's like 3.5 kilometers.
Yeah. So I mean, think of like paying $13 to drive across a access bridge, basically, like, you know, across something really small. It's a tiny distance from what it costs.
Okay.
So
hit
first
me with
one.
some questions.
All right.
Stump me.
The first question comes from, and I hope I'm saying his name right. His first name is Shane, and I think Early, maybe, or Early. Anyway, this one's kind of a tough one after the first one, so sorry about this. Regarding USDM Style in Japan, are they making fun of us because our stance makes fun of them? Or is it supposed to be ironic because we think we build JDM cars and they're trying to build USDM cars? Or why do you think it is the motivation behind USDM Style here?
Okay, I'm going to explain the question a little bit more. Some people here in Japan tune their Japanese cars to look like Americans in the way that they tune Japanese cars. And what that means is, imagine an American racer with a Civic that's modified their car in a not very tasteful way. This is fairly popular in America, and Japanese people see this and then they copy that style. And so the question is, are they doing this tongue-in-cheek and making fun of the people who do this, or are they doing it seriously? I don't know. I haven't asked any of the people who have done that to their car, but I'm going to make it a point to do that next time I see one. If I were to guess, I would say that they're doing it to authentically copy that style. That's my guess. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I would, if I had to hazard a guess before we start polling people at car shows, and just to give you guys an example for some of you who may not know what we're talking about, you know, if you see like an Integra, it's not like we're picking on Hondas here, but it can be anything, Corolla, Subarus, whatever, and they'll like sticker bomb one front fender, like that's a real common one, or they'll sticker bomb the lower lip of the front bumper, like that kind of thing that has been a predominantly U.S. invention.
What else? Like matte paint is
matte paint's a big one.
Bike racks on the roof.
Rust, some of that rust color, like purposely rusting fenders and putting it on cars.
Like muddy car mods in their budget street cred.
They'll
the
do that.
Golf.
So those kind of things, and they'll copy our stance a little. I think I just killed you. No, I didn't. It's the invincible mosquito. I got it. It's dead.
Gross.
It's dead.
Smeared on the window.
It's dead. It's dead though. Don't worry about it.
I can see it. It's like this long.
It's okay. That's fine. So I would guess the way the Japanese people usually do things though is they aim not to copy, but they really try and like dive into that part of that culture, and they take that seriously. So I don't know that they're doing it. I wouldn't call it making fun of us. I definitely wouldn't say that. My guess would be that it's more like they see something and they want to replicate that and try and understand what that's about. And the analogy I would make is cooking. I think like when Japanese people cook Italian food, they cook it as close to what traditional Italian food is supposed to be. I don't know if you guys know this, but the most 5-star Michelin rated restaurants in the world in a city is in Tokyo.
I didn't even know that.
So Tokyo is more famous for food based on restaurant ratings, right, than Paris. I mean, and that's huge. And the reason that is, a lot of those restaurants aren't Japanese food. They're French food, they're Italian food, they're German food, because they really, really try and emulate it, like, perfectly. Which is also kind of ironic, because they can't make cheeseburgers to save their life here for some reason.
The best hamburgers in Japan come from McDonald's.
Yeah, they're terrible. I don't know what that is.
But the McDonald's here is better than it is back home.
That's for sure. So I think the USDM Style, that would be my answer. I think it's them doing that sort of Japanese thing where they really try to...
And I think it's cool. You know,
I do too. They're
doing something different, and I'm glad that we moved all of this stuff inside the truck because it's raining now.
Right.
Anyways, what's question number 2?
All right, question number 2. This one's kind of broad. Can we cover more 4x4 and truck stuff?
Do you want to answer?
I don't know. We want to, right? We want to do truck stuff, but doing... I guess it kind of depends on what truck stuff is.
Truck stuff is truck nuts.
Right? What's truck stuff? I think if you're looking for like lifted Chevys and stuff, that would be kind of hard because there's not that here. They don't have like a big truck culture.
Right.
But they do have a 4x4 culture, like the Suzuki Samurais and sort of the Jimneys and things like that. And I think if we could find, and they definitely sell the Land Cruisers and
I think when they're asking about trucks, they're talking mostly about Japanese diesel trucks like Land Cruiser, Hilux Surf even, Nissan Safari or Patrol, Jimny possibly, and the question was, can we cover more cars like that? And we don't really cover anything. This channel basically is people buy stuff from us and then we show what we sell. So it's not really up to us what we cover per se. We just are showing what we got handed to us. We don't really have an awful lot of control over what sort of content gets posted on the channel. Now, that being said, the other channel that we were talking about, we do have control over that. We get to pick which cars, and we get to actually buy cars and test out cars on that channel. So another plug for the channel, check that out. Tentatively call it Drive Japan at the moment. I'm going to add myself another question just in the meantime. Derek, what do you think you should name the new channel? That was a question. That was me pretending I'm somebody else asking that question.
It was complicated, but I got it.
And I don't have an answer for it, and so I'm going to send this out to the viewers. The channel right now is called Drive Japan. I really, really like the name of that channel because it kind of suits the channel very well. The downside to that is it kind of sounds a lot like another popular YouTube channel called Drive. Just Drive. And
which we're fans of.
It kind of sounds like a regional version of the Drive channel, and we don't want to have problems with another channel at all, and so that name is somewhat not usable now. And so I've thought of other names like Driving Japan or Drive in Japan or Hot Stuff Japan or Bikini Japan. But so far none of those really work for me, and we've been actually trying to find a name for the last few months and nothing has come up. And so everyone post your suggestions in the comments section.
Wait, but the lawyer warning, if we take your idea, we're not going to pay for it.
It'll be a friendly suggestion.
Just so you know, it's a friendly suggestion.
I mean, we could give them a shout out.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe we could think of a treat. But we're under no contractual obligation
It's funny, the American in the car here thinks about that
to
first.
share, we're going to get sued. Or if you guys want to, if someone out there is friends with the Drive people and you can get them to give us their blessing, then we could just stick with that too.
Maybe I can just ask them.
Yeah, maybe
I mean, that might look a little bit douchey.
Weird. I don't know. But tell us what you think. We'll see what you guys say. That'll be more useful.
Right. Next question?
All right, next question. In the office video, and in some other videos, we've noticed that there's a crap ton, my word, by the way, crap ton of parts laying around in the background. Where do they come from, and what do you do with them?
Most of the parts that are in the office come from auction cars that we buy, and they come with surprise parts in them. A lot of people, when they're selling the car, they're like, get these winter tires out of here, put them in the car, and then we can't, in most cases, ship them to the customer because when we ship roll on, roll off, you can't ship with inner cargo as carriers' regulations. And so we can ship the parts, and the parts are free, and all the customers get a chance to get those parts if they want, but they have to pay for the shipping then if they want to do that. And a lot of customers don't want to pay for the shipping, and because we ship out the cars quickly, sometimes we have to grab those parts out of the cars before the customer has made a decision on if they want them or not. And that's where all of those parts come from. And we've got stacks of parts in the office of parts that we don't know what to do with, and they don't really have enough value for us to list, and we have to pay to throw them out. And so we're kind of stuck in limbo with them. And I guess part of it is just the laziness of not wanting to deal with that while we've got other things that are going on.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with it. We're so busy doing other stuff that it's hard to mess with something that may actually cost us money. So it's costing us time and money.
Ugliness of the office.
To deal with some of this stuff. There's that too.
By the way, we've got carpet in the office and it looks awesome.
I'm sure we'll do it.
Awesome is relative.
Oh, it does. It looks awesome.
And we can play hockey in the office thanks to Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. He sent us, you brought us 4 hockey sticks from Canada. I've been wanting those for about 10 years since I've lived in Japan, so thank you, Andrew.
Same. I'm one of those people, like, when I get really stressed out, it helps for me to, like, just pick up a ball and a hockey stick and play with it for a minute. Helps me concentrate. So, Andrew, thank you, sir. Thank you.
And Brittany.
Yes.
Because they come as a package.
They are together. All right, ready for the last one?
This is the last question.
The last question, this one's kind of open-ended, so I saved it for last because we could probably do this one for a little bit if we wanted to.
Okay.
The question is, what do you think is the most underrated car or cars that are about to become legal in the U.S.?
Have you already thought about this one?
A little bit.
Because
you know what? I think you can guess what my first answer is going to be.
Your first answer is
Let's see if you can get it.
Daihatsu Terios.
That's a terrible guess. They're not legal for like 8 more years.
Yeah. To seriously guess?
Yeah. Do you think you guess what mine is?
Underrated is an open word. Underrated because not many people know that it's going to be a popular car in the market.
Well, I mean, the Skyline is like so hyped up by everybody that people, I think, have a false impression of it. So something that just doesn't get a lot of attention. What doesn't get covered on Speed Hunters ever? You know, that kind of thing. Not that, you know, or that you just don't really see that often built really nice that people, you know, don't expect that might show up and people will be like, wow, those are actually really awesome.
I can tell you which cars are going to be the popular next ones. 1992 brings you a whole bunch of cars, and then 1993 and up to 1995, a few more. But the big ones that we're waiting for right now is the Lancer Evolution and the Subaru Impreza. And both of those come in 1992, which is next year. The downside, though, is neither of those cars are cars that hold together well over time. And by the time they're 25 years old, very few of them are left on the market. So they're going to be hard to find compared to the Skyline, which is very easy to find at the moment. The Mazda FD RX-7.
But that's not underrated.
Right. No, I don't really understand what the meaning of underrated is. So I'm just saying which cars I think are going to be popular.
Should I do mine first? And then?
No.
Oh.
Me first. The FD is going to be a popular one, but again, they didn't ramp up production very much until about mid-1992, and with the reliability issues of February, not a lot of the 92s have made it this far. And a lot of them that have been kind of damaged from heavy modifications or piecing or rebuilding from questionable sources or modifications from questionable sources, and so they're not going to be another car that's easy to buy. You see, a lot of people just getting into the market, what they did is they said, wow, Nissan Skyline, excellent, and then they kind of get accustomed to the amount of those and the quality of those, but they don't realize that the GTRs have been babied compared to many of the cheaper sports cars that were available during that time. And so because they were babied, a lot more of them are still available. And then the other cars, which were kind of the high schooler's car, right? The kind of car that you can get into a sports car really cheap, and so the car wasn't taken care of very well. And we've got a whole bunch of those, including the Impreza, the Lancer Evolution, the Mazda FD, the Toyota Supra comes in 1993. That one kind of fits that bill. It's a little bit closer to the Skyline in that regard, though. Anyways, about underrated cars, go ahead.
So, underrated, right? These are things that people don't expect. Supras, FDs, Lancers, Subarus, these are cars that everyone's got on their list of cars I'm waiting for.
Right.
So, underrated is a car that people may have forgot to add to the list because they just don't, it's not something they think of. So, this is not my top answer, by the way, but I'll give you an example.
Disclaimer?
The Toyota Soarer, the newer one. That's not on top of a lot of people's lists, but the Soarer here was available with the manual transmission and the 1JZ GTE, and which is way sportier than what was available in the US in the SC300, because the best engine combination you could get, engine transmission, was a 5-speed non-turbo 2J, or, and you know, I guess the V8 ones with automatic, kind of, but the 1JZ 5-speed cars are great, and the model before it, the Z20, like the 3.0, the 7M GTE powered Soarers that are actually currently legal, are really awesome cars that no one brings in.
The UZZ30s are legal now. You can import them.
Right. Sorry, yes, the first year's of them, yes.
But they're just barely legal, and so they're a good car right now. They don't come up that often, but they were made in the time where Toyota was needed to prove themselves with Lexus. So the SC300 was Lexus's. I mean, they started off with the LS, the next one was the ES, the next one was the SC, but they all came out basically within the same 1 to 2 year period, and they were the cars that needed to prove Lexus. And so they got Toyota badges here, but they were way over-engineered. So you got excellent engines, excellent chassis, excellent interior, everything about them is fantastic. And so definitely a car that you want to check out. I love the Soars. They're big and they're heavy and they're GT cars and they're kind of different from what most cars are like nowadays, but they definitely feel special.
So that's what they're talking about, something like that. Do you want me to do my top choice while you think of one like that?
Do you have a top choice?
I do have a top choice. I think, my personal opinion, without question, the most underrated car for the money that is going to become legal in the US soon is the ST205 Celica GT4. Because that gets left off a lot of people's lists for the rally cars, because they always go to the Lancer or the Subaru.
Right.
And they were sold in Europe and some other places, so people were kind of used to them over there, and you never see them done really nice. But the 3S GT is awesome. They're the only one of those cars that was built to be the way it is. A Lancer and a Subaru, right? They were basically economy cars where they bolted all the racing parts to it. But the Celica GT4 was designed to be a sports coupe with a four-wheel drive and whatever. And it's a little heavier than the other two, but it's also a lot more refined in there too. So it's a really nice car to drive.
It's a good pick, but watch out because prices are already on the increase now as supply runs out. And when they're legal, I believe, like what you're saying, they're cars that not a lot of people notice, but enough people are going to notice that one. The prices are going to jump on
when they start to come in.
Make sure that you jump on that one when it becomes legal.
But like right now, the ST185, which is a car that won 3 World Rally Championships, right? With Carlos Sainz, and then with Didier Oriol. You don't watch that WRC. So I think Oriol won the 3rd one, maybe, or Kankkunen. I can't remember.
He's trying to prove how cool he is with his knowledge.
I don't have to prove it. You'll be able to tell. So.
You're gonna be one of those guys who's like, look at all the knowledge I've got. I'm so smart.
But people talk about the Subaru and the Evo because Mäkinen and McRae won so many, but you forget like the 185, the Toyota's guys did it first.
Right.
And the Celica GT4 is the one who started that 4-wheel drive turbo rally car thing. That was
Japanese.
first. Yeah, for the Japanese cars. That was first. When they took the fight to the Lancia Delta, which was dominating WRC at the time.
Quattro.
Right. And so those cars currently, you can get them shipped. You can get them landed in the U.S. for under $10,000.
At the moment, you're looking,
and those are good cars.
I don't know when they hit the U.S. market, but we sell them somewhat frequently to Canada, or at least we have people looking for them. Prices at the moment are 300,000 yen to about 700,000 yen. But I've noticed in the last 3 years or so, the price has gone up. You used to be able to get them for about 150,000 yen not too long ago.
Right.
Like a good one for that much. It's kind of crazy how when the supply runs out, people still want the good ones.
Right. So to me, that's my top choice is the Celica GT4, the ST205. I think that's a car most people will concentrate on the Evos and the Subarus, and I think we'll have less people looking for the GT4s. And even if the price goes up, it'll still be a lot less than what those other 2 cars cost. I still think you'll be able to get a GT4 for a lot less than a version 5 Subaru or an Evo 5 or 6. The prices of those 2 will go up much more, and that'll be a much higher cost for those cars than it would be for the Celica. Would be my guess.
He also added in value for money, and I think that there's huge value for money in some of the automatic transmission. As soon as I say that, people are going to shut down the video.
Right. It's done. We're done.
Automatic transmission Toyota big body coupes, sedans like Toyota Crown, Mark II, Chaser, Cresta, and then the Nissans like the Laurel, Cedric, Gloria, because you can get them for under $1,000. They look really great with big wheels on them, and nowadays a lot of the people, most people in the car industry love manual transmissions, but there's a growing number of people who like the automatic transmissions as long as the style of the car is suitable for them. And I think that those cars are some of the best ever automatic transmission cars, even though it's only a 4-speed auto, but they come with 1J engines or RB25 engines. They're very reliable. What are you pointing out?
That guy was going to come over, but it doesn't matter.
Oh,
it's okay.
I'm a dick to him.
It's okay. Don't hit the cube, we'll be right. So, yeah, I agree. And the thing is, there's a lot of people, too. I mean, I think probably a lot of people who watch us are going to be into the sports cars that want a manual transmission. But there's going to be a lot of people who are into JDM cars, just that, you know, they need to go to college or work, and they don't necessarily want to mess with that every day. One of the cars I really want to sell, but I don't think we've sold one yet, is the Nissan President. If we sold a President.
We have not sold a President
and
yet.
Talk about a VIP car, those things are awesome. And like, you know, if you want to lower something on like 18s or whatever and just drive it to and from college and carry all your friends, you know, out on the weekend, but still have like a JDM kind of experience, that's a great choice.
I think that the President is Nissan's answer to the Century, basically. It's the largest size Toyota and Nissan sedans from the biggest two companies from Japan. Honda and Mitsubishi also kind of dipped their feet in that, but I can't remember the name of them. The Mitsubishi is very uncommon. We saw one at the auction recently. And then the Honda, I think the Legend holds their biggest sedan place. The Legend, I think, is a different car here than it is in the US, though. I think that the name branched off somewhere. Someone in the comments knows, so let us know.
Yeah, they'll tell us. For sure.
The Century, until it went V12, was very similar to the Crown. And then the engine is the same as the LS 400, I believe. And so parts shouldn't be too difficult for that one. They come with like massagers in the back and power seats in the rear with like footrest.
Yeah, you can like lay down in the back seat of those cars. It's really awesome.
And they're the kind of car that will fly under the radar for everyone except for the people who know about it. So that's kind of cool.
Right.
Too.
And then when you show up someplace, and you open the door and someone sees you with your feet like laid in the back of the driver's seat and you're like laid out, people are gonna be like, "What is that?" Or it's got an ice box. You know, some of those like older Centuries and stuff have ice boxes built into them.
And the Crown, right?
Yeah, the Crown too. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool stuff that, you know, gives you that JDM experience without being, you know, a Skyline or something like that.
And also, like, if you're looking for good value for money and you're not looking for a sports car, like, a lot of our customers aren't looking for sports cars because we do a lot of diesels. Small diesel vans and Land Cruisers are usually expensive, but the small diesel vans, like the 2-liter Toyota van, you get 4-wheel drive, diesel, 8 passengers, and a quirky, weird Japanese van, and locking front hubs and ladder frames so you can lift them up. So kind of cool, I think. Especially if you put them on big tires and go off-roading in them and go camping. I think it's and you get them for like $800 for one of those vans.
Yeah, they're nothing.
And they also have the fridge in them, the little ice box and hot and cold box is what they call it. IKEA.
Yeah.
Everyone points it out, so
there it is.
Be the first to comment. IKEA, number 1, first comment.
First comment.
I'm first.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably going to be the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to Drive Japan and tell us what name you want to call it. Here's a little bit of just some more information on that if you're going to suggest a name. Is we're not looking for something that has a cool, edgy sound to it because there are enough sites that are like that. We're looking for something that's unique and very identifiable as the type of content. And that's why Drive Japan is so suitable, because it tells you exactly what the channel is. It's a Japan-based channel about driving. And so something similar to that, something not too cool like, what's a cool name?
JDM-R Shift Clutch. No, that was terrible.
Clutch kick.
Clutch kick. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think also because I'm so uncool and Paul is...
Yeah, just say it.